G'day everyone, I'm David Reedy. Welcome to Piano Finally, a podcast by an old bloke who's getting around to learning the piano. Finally. Welcome to show number 90. This week I'm going to take a look at the Blue Mountains Music Festival. If this is the first time you're hearing the podcast, then I hope you find that interesting and consider subscribing. If you're a regular listener, then thanks for your support. If you'd like to ask me anything or share your own musical journey, you can contact me at david@pianofinally.show. This week's episode is being put together in bits and pieces. It's the weekend of the Blue Mountains Music Festival, so there is a lot going on. Add to that the Sunday rehearsal for the choir, and I'm writing this whenever I get a few spare moments. The festival is mostly held in an area around the Katoomba Primary School, with 5 stages in the main area, including the RSL Club. This is the festival's 29th edition. The festival started as a folk music festival, and it has kept mostly to that. It is advertised as folk, roots and blues. The larger stage can seat maybe 1,000 people, with the smaller ones accommodating a few hundred. There are lots of food stalls, all with festival pricing. I don't think I've seen chips for $10 even in fancy restaurants. There are also a few of those shops you normally only see at market days, selling all sorts of interesting clothing and decorative items. I picked up a couple of festival t-shirts. The artist's music is also on sale, and Mary Coughlin, one of the headliners from Ireland, mentioned that all the vinyl records have sold out very quickly, but there are still plenty of CDs left. I've just arrived on Saturday morning, and the main gates aren't open yet, but I've been allowed into the accessible parking area, so I'm watching the stall holders deliver food and the artists arrive. I'm off to a workshop first up. I'll let you know how it goes. You can probably guess how I found this video during the week. I mentioned in the last show that I've been working on some of the practice tracks for the choir, which involves splitting the music out into its separate parts and then creating tracks with one voice standing out from the accompaniment and the other voices. Clearly, I'm not going to be singing the voice parts. I don't even play the piano part. Cubase and Piano Tech handle that. No, the voice parts are supplied by Synthesizer V2 Pro, an AI voice tool. I've mentioned my opinions on AI replacing humans in the arts, and so I was really wary about how these tools were made and whether they had been trained ethically. Synthesizer V by Dreamtonics ticked all the right boxes, and it sounded really good. So that's the way I went. I like to know a little about the companies I deal with, where that's possible. None of them is perfect, but I feel happier if the companies I give my money to are at least trying to do the right thing. So it was nice to find this YouTube video from Dreamtonics explaining how they made the choir voices for Synthesizer V. The video opens with Kanru, the founder and CEO of the company, explaining their new product. Although Dreamtonics and Synthesizer V have been around for a while, these choir voices are something new. He points out the problems with the way they first tried and how they've worked around it. During the video, you get to see around the offices, and they appear to be a small software company. We meet Junko, the operations manager, whose job is to coordinate the logistics of recording the 3 groups of 16 artists whose voices are the basis for the choirs. She and Yongxin, the sound engineer, talk about how they worked out a way of recording the voices so that they could be properly used in the software. They also talk about some of the technical considerations, such as mic placement, so the synthesized lyrics sound correct. I was already pleased with how well Synthesizer V was working, but now, having seen some of the people in the small business and heard about them a bit more, I'm even happier that I chose them over some of the larger companies. If you want to have a look at some of the people who are making tools for musicians and who are working ethically, then have a look at The Making of Synthesizer V's Choir Voices. There's a link in the show notes. Backstage. The accessible parking area at the Blue Mountains Music Festival is at the back of the site, right next to the tent containing the main stage. There's a little bit of fencing to indicate that it's off limits unless you've got a reason to be there, and it's where I've been able to go back to the car to rest a bit and get the show put together. It means that I've been able to watch the comings and goings of the artists and their crews as they set up and pull down for the performances. One thing that is really clear is that the artists on the stage are only a small part of the organisation involved in putting on a performance. In most cases, that is. I think it has something to do with how successful you are in the industry as to just how much of the work you have to do for yourself and how much gets done for you. I've just watched a drummer in one of the bands walk past with cymbals in a backpack and carrying a snare drum down to one of the stages. But I also know a bloke whose business is providing the electricity to stadium events such as Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, and he has quite a sizable staff for that work. This got me thinking about the support we all get as amateur musicians and how important it really is to our success. Physically, we don't need a lot of support staff. Most electronic instruments are transportable, if not truly portable, so we don't need roadies. If you have an acoustic piano, then maybe you need a hand getting it into place initially, but after that you'd be fine. So who do we need as our backstage crew if we're going to be successful amateur musicians? Depending on your circumstances, you might need support from those you live with to actually give it a go. Unless you've got a totally silent electronic version of your instrument, you are going to need their forbearance while practising. Most musicians find practising scales necessary but boring, and they're the ones benefiting from the learning. It's not going to be great if you're not the learner and you have to listen to that practice. The same goes for repeating the same couple of bars over and over, working on getting the phrasing just right. And even the best electronic or hybrid keyboards still have key noise even when headphones are being used. As you get better, and maybe start practicing a little more seriously, and for longer each day, you might need those you live with to pick up some of the jobs around the house that you used to do. Or maybe they need to get used to less elaborate meals, as risotto takes just too much time when there is some Chopin to learn. All this support tends to come from people you know. It's friends and families in the case of amateurs, or from paid employees and companies in the case of commercially successful musicians. But there is another important group of people supporting musicians, and I saw many of them around the festival. But that's the subject of next week's show. The Blue Mountains Music Festival review. I'm putting this together as I go to things over the Friday and the Saturday, so it might be a bit disjointed. The first session I got to was the Welcome to Country, which opened the festival. Two of the local Darug elders did a really quick job before introducing students from the primary school who performed some dance and singing. I'm not much of a judge of dancing, but the singing was excellent. Their teacher has done a terrific job of getting them ready, and the kids really looked like they were enjoying themselves. The first festival performers I saw were the Ocelots, twin brothers from Ireland who played their own music on guitar, harmonica, keyboard and flute. Each of their songs had a story, which they explained beforehand, and which made the performances even more enjoyable. They have a YouTube channel, and I'll include a link in the show notes. After the Ocelots, it was off to see Mary Coughlin from Ireland. Mary is one of the headlining acts at this year's festival. She has attended many times before, and is described as Ireland's greatest female vocalist. Mary has a new album just out and performed a couple of the songs from it and a few more that the front row of the audience seemed to know really well. So Mary had them sing the chorus for two of them. With just a keyboardist and an upright bass player, she was great, even though she forgot the opening line to one of the songs, and even the front row fans didn't know it. Luckily, the sound engineer did, and so the set concluded successfully. I was intending to stay for another act, but the disadvantage of the festival being intense and other venues open to the weather is the weather. The temperature had dropped below 10 degrees Celsius, and I was just too cold, so I headed home. Saturday morning opened with the Spooky Men's Chorale. Instead of this being a performance, it was a workshop, so the audience got to rehearse with them and learn some things to be used later during the evening performance, including some signals from the music director for when to join in. I was sitting next to the wife of one of the performers, and she filled me in on some more details of the group and told me about a local non-professional choir they're also involved in. I'll be checking that one out. A random pick of what to attend next had me sitting in the front row for Sunday Lemonade, a local duo who has been touring festivals for the past 7 years. Tyson and Loz are singer-songwriters with a number of singles out. Before each song, they told the story of its composition and then performed it with such obvious energy and joy that I would have to rate this performance as the most enjoyable one that I saw at the show. They've all been great, but this one just had that extra something that put it in front. Sunday Lemonade have a YouTube channel, and I'll put a link to their website in the show notes. The last performance on Saturday was the Spooky Men's Chorale, a group of 17 men who sing a cappella arrangements of songs with a humorous take, and with some interesting arrangements of songs such as Dancing Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody. The session in the morning meant that for 3 of the pieces, some members of the audience had been primed to join in at the appropriate places. So I got to sing the bass parts in a love song, a Taylor Swift-Tina Turner mashup, and Yothu Yindi's Treaty. It was a fun way to end the evening. This is a really fun group, and they sound incredible, and they are well worth catching live if you can. There's a link in the show notes to their YouTube channel. The festival continues on Sunday, but I'm not able to attend. This is a great weekend, the music is terrific, the organisation is great, and the support for local and international live music is something that we should all be involved in. If you get the chance to go, it's well worth the trip, even if you have to travel from abroad. I'll put a link in the show notes to their website. Coming up this week, I have piano and voice lessons on Monday, an evening with some astronomers from Macquarie University, and who knows what else. I'm hoping to find lots of time to practice the piano, as I really want to get further ahead with the new pieces. If you'd like to contact me, email is the best way. You'll find me at david@pianofinally.show and the website at www.pianofinally.show. In both cases, Piano Finally is all one word. The show is also available on Spotify and as an audio-only stream on YouTube. You can subscribe via any popular iOS or Android podcast application, or from directories such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. I also post an excerpt and link for each episode as an Instagram reel. If you're learning an instrument or singing, let me know where you are in your journey. What's going well? What are your challenges? How are you fitting all your practice in? What pieces of music are you enjoying the most? And so until next week, I hope your piano stays in tune and you enjoy your time at the keys. Once more, it was a difficult week to get enough practice done. I did manage to get a couple of sessions in, but nowhere near enough. So progress is slow at the moment. I should probably call this the lack of progress section. Last week, however, I did record my singing lesson so I could continue practicing in the car. So I'll include a short piece of that, as it's late on Sunday and I haven't had time to record a piano session. I hope it doesn't sound too bad.
Almost a hollow feeling, so ba, 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 ba. Try that.
Ba, 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 ba.
That's better. Good. Feel like a hollow. Imagine it.
Ba, 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 ba.
Excellent. Good. Imagine the hollow.
Ba, 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 ba.
Very good, David. Keep that hollow feeling.
Ba, 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 ba.
Good. Hollow.
Ba, 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 ba.
Be terribly upper class. Hollow.
Ba, 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 ba.
Okay. Just starting to get a little bit tight now.
Tight
ain't
at the top, yeah.
you? Yeah.